Hey everyone, Andrew here, bringing you another video. And today we're going to be doing my comic load for the past 2 weeks, as well as news, updates, questions, answers, and the Andrewcutter Battle Royale and everything that falls in between. So, first off, this has become kind of a recurring theme with my videos as of late, is that I haven't really either been getting them out on time or I've been missing a week in general. Uh, and I think I've explained this, but I'm going to take a little bit of time to explain it again because, well, I actually have time. Where I work, I've got promoted and moved to a new position, which is good. More money, and that also means I'm moving up in the company, which I'm all for. Oh, and by the way, I might have a free spot in between some of my discussions today. So I've been moved. So I'm a little bit further away from home than I was beforehand. It takes me about a half hour to get home and a half hour to get to work, which isn't that bad. So let's just say I live at town B and I work at town C, which is a half hour distance from each other. My comics, however, is in town A, and town A is about 15 minutes away from my house or where I live. So to get from my work to where my comics are located takes about 45 minutes regularly. That doesn't include traffic. There's always traffic around 6 o'clock. So I usually don't get my comics till later on in the week now. I don't usually get them till Saturday. And it makes it just downright a pain to get everything set up and also to get a video out for you guys. And I don't want to rush things. And just with everything that's going on in life right now, it's crazy. So that's why I haven't really been getting my videos out on time. It's because a lot more responsibility has befell on me. Like I said before, things change in life, things happen, but I don't want you guys to think I'm ever going to go away. I might have to readjust my videos or my timing or how I do things. I might have to do 2 weeks of comics in one video. I don't know. We'll see what happens. It's going to be interesting once I have kids. But don't worry, that's a bit away. Um, but I mean that's the main reason why I haven't been able to do my videos on time, especially during the weekend because I work during the weekend sometimes and I have to go to the gym. Today, which is Saturday, and I don't know if I'm going to post it up on Saturday or Sunday, is a fantastic day. I woke up, played some Mario Kart, watched some Power Rangers, and then relaxed. It's like 1:47. My gym closes at 6. So my day is going to consist of me doing this video, going out to the gym, good enough time at the gym, and then spend the night with my love, my wife, and probably watching the Disney movie Frozen. But that's neither here nor there. But I have time. But yeah. So with that said, we're going to just jump into comics and we're going to do reviews of comics. I'll talk more about news and updates later. But we're going to start where we always start, with a little bit of Batman in our life, with Batman issue number 31, continuing 0 year. And my buddy now no longer needs these codes for the free digital copies. So if anyone wants to take that code down and grab their own free digital copy of Batman 31, courtesy of Andrewcutter, a free issue every month for you guys. So, issue number 31 is continuing Batman's return to Gotham after being knocked out for God knows how long, and taking on the Riddler face to face, or face to screen, however you want to look at it. Basically, he forges an alliance with Jim Gordon and Lucius Fox, and they have to work together to stall the Riddler while at the same time locating where he's at. Can the Dark Knight do this, or will unfortunately the Riddler be too much? Good, bad, whether or not you should get it. Good is I do like this new take on Batman and the beginning of his career. And Zero Year has been a great ride, which I think my favorite section of Zero Year was the beginning section that dealt with the Red Hood gang. But the Savage Land one is, again, a new, interesting take on his origin. And if anything, I'm open to change in things being new. So that is good. There's a great gladiatorial scene with Batman in this, and him outthinking the Riddler to a degree. There's a lot of tension and drama. Bad. The only bad I could say is and this isn't anything attributed to the comic itself, but I hope there's space left in Zero Year for there to be other Batman stories. The great thing about Year One for Frank Miller's Batman was that it was spaced out over a year, but you could fill stuff in with Legends of the Dark Knight, Hutton's having more Year One stories. I hope that there is enough space in here to do still first year Batman stories. Whether or not that's going to happen, we'll see. But I would love to see some first year Batman stories, particularly taking place during the Dark City, because that's probably not Secret City story arc, because that's probably where they would fit the easiest. Of him wearing his original costume or his zero year costume, taking on I don't know the Mad Monk or Hugo Strange or I don't know, insert villain here. It would be interesting. So, 5 out of 5, Batman. It is what it is. Awesome. From 2 weeks ago, Batman and Frankenstein: The Search for Robin. So, Batman finds that basically he's on the trail of Ra's al Ghul and it comes into contact with Frankenstein. He has to team up with Frankenstein to find Ra's al Ghul because Ra's al Ghul is a dick and trying to resurrect his son. Um, yeah, that's the basic gist. This is fun. There's some nice moments between Frankenstein and Batman. The art is good and the combat is good. Bad is I just feel as though we're delaying time for this chase story. We could have gotten to the point where he's found Ra's al Ghul at this point and taken him on. But the moments between him and Frankenstein are fun. 4 out of 5. Moving on to Nightwing issue number 30. So this is kind of the conclusion or the resolution to Nightwing's comic and the transition over to him becoming Secret Agent Grayson. Basically what happens is Spiral, and I could be wrong about this, but I'm pretty sure Spiral finds out through Leslie Tompkins and various different means that Bruce Wayne is Batman. This is pretty evident seeing that Kathy Kane, who was, or Cat Kane, or whichever one, the original OG Batwoman showed up and killed Talia al Ghul in the Batcave, she probably automatically knows. So, with that said, Batman enlists Dick Grayson to go out secret agent style and lie to everyone to find out the secrets of Spiral. And while this is happening, we get the introduction of Helena Bertinelli in the DC universe, who was Huntress after the Crisis on Infinite Earths. But we already have the Earth 2 Huntress, so why not take Helena Bertinelli and do something with her? Good, bad, whether or not you should get it. Good is I did like the conversation that Bruce and Dick were having in the fight that was going on. Helena Bertinelli, the ending art was the best of the art, and I think her art, her drawn there, was really well done. And I like the fact that they're taking because there's basically two huntresses. Why not take one of them and make something new of them? There is an ethnicity change, but that again, I don't care about that. I think people will be a little bit easier to accept that because again, there's two huntresses, so you can kind of pull that off. There's no two Wally West, but I like the change that they're doing to Helena Bertinelli. And the overall pacing of the story was good. Bad. Two bads. And this is going to be a gripe with everything that's going on with Grayson. But let me start with a disclaimer. Like I said before in my previous video, I'm okay with the changes that they're doing with Dick Grayson. The problem is how they're addressing it, and it's seen here. Is Bruce is telling him to lie to everyone about being dead. However, what does that solve? You don't think that Batgirl can keep a secret about Dick Grayson? I could easily see Dick showing up and be like, "Hey, Barbara, Alfred, I just want to let you guys know I'm going to be going on the cover. I'm not dead, but everyone's going to think I'm dead. But shh, just play it off like I'm dead." Like, there's no reason why Alfred and Batgirl shouldn't know, and they're the primary people that really should know. The second problem is people already know Dick Grayson's alive. Cyborg, Catwoman, the Justice League of America, and the Justice League, when they were released from Firestorm, a good chunk of the DC universe knows that he's alive. What did Batman all tell them? Hey guys, listen, just keep your mouth shut. I need Dick to do this. So I think that's a big problem with this. On the whole, it wasn't a bad issue. I will give it a 3 out of 5. was enjoyable, and I am eager to see how Grayson goes. I'm actually very excited to see how it goes. I think I'm going to open this freeze pop. It's hot where I'm at right now, so freeze pops are always welcome. Mm. Oh god, freeze pops are dangerously good. Red Hood and the Outlaws, issue number 31. It's basically the Outlaws versus Lobo. That's it. Yeah, there's two Lobos in the DCU, and here's the funny thing about Lobo, and I'm going to take time to talk about him, is I like both Lobos. I think I like the new Lobo a little bit more. He's kind of really a badass. But I like both Lobos, and I wouldn't mind both Lobos existing in the DCU. You get a little A and a little bit of B. You can say that they were originally from the first Lobo and he split for some reason, or make up whatever reason you want. Or they're brothers that just happen to have the same name, Lobo. Whatever. I don't care. I want to keep both Lobos around. However, new Lobo is going after old Lobo, and it's going to be good. So I do like that. I thought Lobo's dialogue in this was 1,000 times better than when he was with Rob Liefeld, and 1,000 times better than on Stormwatch. I have picked up some of the more recent Stormwatch issues and been reading them before I go to bed. And on a whole, the fighting was pretty good in this. Bad is the story is relatively boring and I don't really care. But besides that, 3 out of 5. Moving on is Batwoman issue number 31. Boy, oh boy, is this comic just great. This is going to get a 5, I'm telling you right now. The relationship between Batwoman and her fiance, Maggie Sawyer, is great. Everything that Kat is trying to do to help her out is great. Wolf Spider is a great enemy for Batwoman, and this leaves enough doors open so that once, anytime we want to, we can go back to what Batwoman was beforehand, or back to this character of Wolf Spider and doing the cool little dance that they're doing. The art is great, and overall, I'm loving the direction of the comic. Batwoman has been a consistently good comic throughout the DC New 52. I recommend picking up. Next issue will probably be a little bit easier because it will be a new story arc, but still, great issue. Birds of Prey, issue number 31. So in this, basically, there is a teleporting asshole that's trying to kill Commissioner Gordon, and the Birds of Prey have to stop it. And by the way, this is, I think, the best cover of the week so far. It's a really cool cover. So anyways, that's basically the gist. The Birds of Prey versus a teleporting asshole. Yeah, a 3 out of 5. The story was okay, mediocre-ish, and the fight scenes were really good. No real huge character development, just Barbara freaking out about her father, but she does that all the time. But yeah, that's basically the gist. Now, I'm sorry, I'm just checking my foot, and there's a reason I'm checking my foot, and I will tell you later. I had a little surgery done on my foot. I might as well tell you now. I had an ingrown toenail in my foot, so they had to surgically remove it. So just checking my foot because it kills, but I just want to make sure it stays clean. Moving on, Catwoman issue number 31. Catwoman is basically trying to steal shit for what reason, I don't care, Catwoman. Moving on. It's really not that interesting. Harley Quinn, issue number 6. So Harley continues to help out this cyborg guy take out enemies from his past. And this is cute and lovable and fun, and the art is fun, and just overall has a fun tone to it. Like, Harley's a really lovable character, and I really do like the costume in this as opposed to the costume she has in Suicide Squad, because I don't like the ruffle thing around her neck, whatever that's called. I think this is a little bit more traditional Harley. Yeah, Harley Quinn's comic has so much charm to it, and there's some great moments in this. 5 out of 5. Batman Eternal, number 7 and 8. 7 really wasn't anything great. I think I was falling asleep during it too. Nothing against the comic. I think I just was tired. The Iceberg Lounge basically gets blown up. This gets a 3 out of 5. However, 8 was a little bit better. We get a little bit more Stephanie Brown and a little bit more of the internal turmoil going on in the police department. This gets, however, a 5 out of 5. Spider-Man issue number 2. Now, I really didn't get much chance to talk about Spider-Man issue number 1. I think I talked about 1.5. Issue number 1 was really fun, and it made me want to read Spider-Man. Issue number 1.5, yeah, it was okay. Issue number 2 was pretty good. I didn't read Superior Spider-Man, so one of the downsides is there are a lot of plot things hanging that I know nothing about. But the issue does at least a decent job at addressing it for us new readers. For example, Doc Ock's girlfriend. Again, I know nothing about it, but it does a decent good job at informing me about it. And I do like the direction that this comic's going. It's a different kind of Spider-Man than I have been exposed to in the past, but I do like it. So I will give this a 4 out of 5. Again, not inviting to new readers, but shit happens. Reese pops up. Amazing. I'm going to put these two together. Supergirl and Red Lanterns, both issue number 31s. This is continuing the story dealing with the new Red Lantern, the Judge, as well as Atrocitus kind of, well, getting his army ready, and there is a lot of getting ready here. Atrocitus and Guy Gardner basically have a face-off with each other, which is pretty darn cool. These two comics have really evolved and grown, and really I've been having a fun time with it. And I think you should pick them up. Both of them are 5 out of 5s. I think Red Lanterns was a little bit better this week, as opposed to Supergirl last week, but both of them are really good. Pick them up. The Red Daughter storyline has been fun, and Guy Gardner needs to stay on Red Lanterns because he really does make the book so good. Sinestro issue number 2. So Sinestro is basically fighting his Lantern Corps and getting them back in order, while also at the same time showing how much of a badass he is. And the writing on this is very solid. Although the artwork's not my cup of tea, it's still good artwork. Sinestro just looks like he's constantly pissed off. But the writing on this is so very solid, and I'm so very interested in where it's going to go. And I like the fact that the Green Lantern universe is expanding and evolving. And we have now Green Lantern Corps, Green Lantern New Guardians, Red Lanterns, and Sinestro along with LaFreeze. 6 comics. That's pretty solid. And for the most part, they're all pretty good. New Guardians, which we're going to get to, is okay, but they're all pretty good. So this gets I'll give it a 5 out of 5. There was nothing bad about this. The art isn't my cup of tea, but art is all subjective. I mean, some people think Jim Lee's art is bad. I think Jim Lee's art is amazing. It's my favorite artist. Green Lantern New Guardians. This series, like I kind of just hinted to beforehand, has been kind of off and on for me. However, this issue is a step back in the right direction. This deals with Kyle Rayner going to a planet similar to Mogo that has a conscience and fighting that planet. While at the same time, him trying to deal with the White Lantern powers, which has basically been, I don't know, I don't want to say, it's been a burden on him. So I did like that. I don't like the fact that Carol Ferris and Kyle Rayner are kind of starting to kind of get together-ish. It's not in this issue in particular, but just in general. Carol, come on, it should be with Hal. It's like if Catwoman went with Superman. It just doesn't feel right. Pretty decent pacing, pretty good issue. 4 out of 5. We want to talk about a great Green Lantern issue. It goes to LaFreeze, issue number 11. This comic, I believe, is on the cusp of being canceled. It's not quite at that point yet, but pick this up. I know Keith Giffens and DeMatteis do a lot of dialogue, and oh yeah, there's a lot of dialogue, but there's a lot of action in this issue. Gnort is great in this. I would love if Gnort and the Freeze kind of joined together to become a tag team. Just overall really fun, and that's the definition there. Not the definition. That's the key word. Fun. It's a fun, 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 fun issue. 5 out of 5. Flash Gordon, issue number 2. Yeah, so this is picking up from issue number 1. Flash Gordon and his crew are posing as basically inspectors for this planet. And they go to the planet where all the soldiers from Ming the Merciless are created, and all of them are genetically warped and all that stuff. So we basically see Flash kind of learning all this information about Ming that he never knew before, and he thought he was fighting mindless aliens. They're really people being tortured into becoming aliens. So this comic is really fun. Really an old-fashioned space adventure with swashbucklingness. Uh, this will get a 4.5 out of 5. The only thing that hurts it is I know the story of Ming's invasion happened in a previous crossover event, but I didn't read it, which I'm going to go back and read it. It would have been nice if it happened in Flash Gordon itself. But with that said, pick it up 4.5 out of 5. Sorry, I'm being called to by the red freeze pop. Anyone else has freeze pops all the time? I think I had like 4 last night. That can't be good. I always have 4 at a time too. I have 2 more over there. I have a yellow and a pink. Practically the Power Ranger team. Green, red, yellow, pink. Just missing the black and blue. Trinity Sin Pandora. Boy, am I pissed off that this is getting canceled. I understand that this comic may not be necessarily the most popular comic out there. Well, obviously it's getting canceled. But it was really DC trying hard to introduce another female character, a strong female character that people just weren't connecting with. And basically, Pandora is going out there trying to help the helpless and do good, and it seems like she's getting her life on track, and then an agent of Shield attacks her. Not Shield, Shade. Didn't hear that. The agent of Shade attacks her, and it's an all-out fight between those two. While that's going on, Vandal Savage is showing up and just causing trouble. 3 out of 5. Okay issue. Good art. Good fight. Sorry. Whatever. Justice League Dark, issue number 31. So we learn more about Nightmare Nurse here. We learn that she kind of has a symbiotic relationship with whoever she possesses, because Nightmare Nurse is more of an entity than a person. Possesses bodies left and right. John Constantine, however, wants to help her out. On the flip side, though, Zatanna's like, hell to the no. I think this is definitely a good flesh out of the character for Nightmare Nurse. We get to learn more about this mysterious character that we knew nothing about beforehand. I'm enjoying it, and I'm loving the development. And I think Zatanna being in charge of Justice League Dark is exactly what we needed. 5 out of 5. Buffy the Vampire Slayer, issue number 3. So, basically, they get Dracula to help them out because they want to learn more about what's going on with these vampires that can transform, and Dracula basically gives his stint about how he can do what he does, so on and so forth. This issue was actually really, really good. I'm liking the fact that they got the team from Angel and Faith to jump over here, not only with art, but also with writing, because this was great. Tension, drama, we get a lot of answers and some cool new ideas. This is a solid 5 out of 5 issue. Suicide Squad, issue number 30. This is the last issue of Suicide Squad, I think, before we jump into the next volume. Good is that it gives us kind of a setup, proper motivation for a lot of the characters, particularly Black Manta for joining the Suicide Squad. However, I'm going to give this a 2.5 out of 5. My major gripes in this is, one, there's so little of the team here. It's very much just Black Manta and Amanda Waller. Wow, that's bad. Not to say that I don't love them. I love them both, but I wanted to see Harley Quinn show up. I want to see Deathstroke show up. I want to see all the new cast members that are going to be jumping out along as with the old ones. Um, Two is that boy Amanda Waller is blamed for a lot here, and she does not deserve the blame. Yeah, she did cause a lot of trouble, and she's a sketchy lady. However, she's not to blame for the crime syndicate showing up on Earth. That was going to happen no matter what, and she's getting demoted like 12 times over for it. It's again not her fault. So yeah, that's a bit annoying. But let's move on to something that's not annoying and that is consistently fun and good. That is Injustice Gods Among Us. Boy, is this awesome issue awesome. And also sad. We get a death in this issue, and it is heart wrenching when it happens. It's pretty cool, but it's heart wrenching when it happens. And I don't mean cool that the character died, but it's I don't know. It's really kind of fucking heart wrenching. I'm looking at it now. Oh, and Sinestro comes back better than ever. Just pick it up. Injustice comic has been so good. Year one in year two, you can't go wrong with it. It's just a systematic deconstruction of Superman as a character, and also the Injustice universe. Usually, I couple this under the Batman section because technically it's part of the Batman family comics, but deserves to be with the Superman infected stories. You got Batman Superman issue number 11. Basically, this is more Batman Wonder Woman because they go to the Phantom Zone to find out answers to exactly what happened there, how did Doomsday get released, so on and so forth. Steel helps out too. I really like this issue because it was Batman and Wonder Woman working together, and they're my two favorite characters. So that's a little bit selfish on my end, but they worked well together, and I wouldn't mind seeing a comic with the two of them. It was fairly well placed. Steel was kind of cool in this. I would have liked to see more Steel, but he was still pretty dang cool in this. The only thing is a villain I don't really give two shakes about, and that's the Lord of the Phantom Zone or whatever his name is. Um, Really don't care about him, but on a whole, solid issue. Pick it up. 4 out of 5. Which moves into Superman issue number 31, which is dealing with the infected part, but it doesn't say it up top. But this is a continuation of the Superman Dooms. It's infected part 4, as you can see there. I do like the Superman being chained up, talking to Lois. I like the Justice League kind of there helping him out. But this was a fairly decent issue. The ending was meh, nothing too great. Uh, but yeah, this also gets a 4 out of 5. I think it's just because it's more of a filler issue than anything. Deja Mars, issue number 1. So, kind of spinning out of the Warlord and Mars issue number 100, we get this series, which I think is a limited series of 4 issues. Could be wrong, but you don't need to know much about John Carter before this other than John Carter, man from Earth, goes to Mars, frees Mars, marries the daughter of the Princess of Mars. That's the book, A Princess of Mars. Uh, this issue is pretty fun, fast paced, good action, and I mean, Deja has had her own comic for a while, but this feels, I think, a little bit more natural than um, Deja Thor's because it's set in this time period where her comics set in the past. 5 out of 5. Pick it up. Let me get the last bit of this red one here. Wolverine, issue number 7. Boy, do I not know what's really going on in this. Wolverine fights Ella versions of himself, and his cover is blown, and he's saved by Captain Britain and other stuff. Really don't know what's going on. I'm intrigued with the story up until like 2 issues ago. This story was great, and it's collapsed on itself. I don't know why. Yeah, 2 out of 5. Sorry, it's not winning me over anymore. Secret Origins issue number 2. This is Batman, Batman, Aquaman, and Starfire's um, origin. Doesn't really, unlike the previous issue, this doesn't really tell us too much more than we all don't already know. Batman's origin, please, we've had that done over a billion times over. We get to see a lot of him training, which is nice, but it's nothing we haven't seen. I'm just flipping through it real quickly. Aquaman's origin is kind of cool. It fills in a few gaps. We get to see some things we already know, but his origin is again nothing we don't already know. Starfire's origin fills in gaps too, and I think it fleshes out Starfire a little bit better. This will get a 3 out of 5. Not quite as good as the previous issue, but I think they threw Batman in there just because first cover is Superman, second cover is Batman, third cover is Green Lantern. Um, then it's Batman. You kind of need to throw him on there. So it's an okay issue. 3 out of 5. I think I like the Starfire parts the most. Flash! Issue number 31. So basically, Flash is dealing with a couple things. One is he's dealing with now being a tutor to Wally West and kind of being a big brother figure to him because he promised Iris that he would. While at the same time, Flash from the future shows up and causes a little trouble with Mirror Master. This gets a 3.5 out of 5. I think we're not getting enough Wally in here. I would like to see more Wally. Um, Especially seeing he got reintroduced to the DCU. It's kind of this is what the story should be focused on is Wally West. But the art is great, the dialogue is great, everything else is great. And again, I'm liking where the story and direction is going. So pick it up. Aquaman issue number 31. Aquaman versus Swamp Thing. Yeah, this was pretty fun. I like the stuff going on with Mira, and I like the build up that's going on with that. So the Atlantis stuff is pretty fun. Aquaman versus Swamp Thing is pretty cool, but again, why is Aquaman beating the shit out of Swamp Thing? Aquaman should be really like, yo, bro, know you're pretty much in control of all plants, but why are you killing off my boys, my fish? And I don't know, they could probably solve things a little bit more diplomatically than they did, other than punching each other. But where would the fun be in that? So a good fight scene, 4 out of 5. Wonder Woman issue number 31. So this is on the eve of war with the Firstborn. Oh god, there's some pretty disturbing stuff in this. While at the same time, some really beautiful stuff going on in this. Um, it is just, uh, how can you not love the writing that's going on in Wonder Woman? I particularly like when they go to hell. Hermes and what's his name? I forget. I'm gonna have to look it up. It escapes me. Anyways, they go to hell and they see Kronos there, and oh god, it's disturbing as hell. No pun intended. But the writing in this is just so darn solid, and Wonder Woman is just such a good comic. 5 out of 5. You gotta pick this stuff up. Pick up the previous 30 plus issues because you're missing out big time. Future's End issue number 3 and 4. 3 deals with Mr. Terrific, I almost said Mr. T, going out there and studying the new Batman. While we also get a glimpse of future Tim Drake. While this deals with a little bit more of Frankenstein, what he's doing in S.H.I.E.L.D., and again, more Tim Drake. Tim Drake stuff I really don't care about, though. Although the Franken stuff I do kind of care about because I think the Frankenstein stuff is cool. You're getting briefed on what's going on. And it's kind of a cool briefing mission. And he's teaming up with Amethyst, and you slowly see things start to fall into place. The Grifter stuff is Grifter just going around and grifting. Not grifting. I mean, that's not really what grifting is. Um, but yeah, I think the Tim Drake stuff, oddly enough, is one of the things I don't care about. But these are okay. 3 out of 5. Moving on to the last 3 issues. Forever Evil issue number 7, ending the Forever Evil story. This I thought was really good. I really liked the climax, the fight, the Luthor versus Luthor, Luthor versus Ultraman, Luthor. This is really should be Forever Evil. Luthor is a fucking badass. But this issue was so well done, and the story does not stop here. It continues in Justice League, but I think this is very good and very well done story. I know a lot of people have been on the fence about Forever Evil, probably because I think the biggest thing is it's just been delayed so much. But I really enjoyed this story. And by the way, I fucking called it on who the crime syndicate was running away from. So, Justice League of America, final issue number 14. So this kind of transitions into Justice League United had it come out 2 months previous. Yeah, this issue is so delayed, it's not even funny. It's a good resolve for the team and a good transition to the next story, but again, I felt as though this comic could have been handled a lot better, and it's ending so prematurely. It's probably because Justice League America and the team and the comic was thrown into Trinity War so quickly, it didn't even get time to develop the team itself. 3 out of 5. If it wasn't delayed, maybe more. But yeah, it's the final issue. Poor Stephen Trevor. Look at him. He's so sad in the background. Everyone's flying away. Except for Katana and Catwoman. They're not really flying. They're more like hopping. But hey! Poor Stephen Trevor. And why does Katana have 2 swords? She only has 1. I'm starting to realize some messed up problems with this. Anyways. Yeah, 3 out of 5. Justice League issue number 30. This gets a 5 out of 5. Lex Luthor has joined the Justice League, and we get to see the process of him joining the Justice League. Now, Lex is kind of legitimate. It's fun, and it's cool to see the Justice League back together, and I am glad that this comic is returning back to form. And what I mean by that is that one of my favorite comics is the Justice League team. I love seeing the big names of the DC universe converging with each other to take on evil and fight the good fight and hanging kids there. It's almost Friday kind of stuff, and we haven't had that for a couple months, and it's good that we're getting back to that. So, 5 out of 5. Picks of the week. Oh God. Wonder Woman, Forever Evil, Justice League. There you go. I'm going to pause the video here for a moment so I can have some freeze pops and clean up my mess and go from there. And I'm back, and it's time for the Andrewcutter Battle Royale for this week. And it's going to be between Godzilla, the King of Monsters, who just got his own movie that I want to watch, but I haven't been able to watch because my wife doesn't want to go see it, and she doesn't want to go on a double date to go see it with our friends. In addition to that, my friends don't want to go see it because they usually work on the days that I have off, so I haven't been able to see the movie yet, but I really want to see it. And it's going to be that monster, that king of monsters, Godzilla, versus someone very similar. Some would even call a parody of Godzilla. None other than from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the Dragon Zord. Yes, it's going to be Dragon Zord versus Godzilla. We might as well do a quick breakdown of the both. Godzilla is a monstrous kaiju who is a big giant lizard that basically comes from the ocean. Funny because that's what Dragonzord is, only he's a robot. But anyways, Godzilla can come from the ocean, and he has basically several different attacks. 1 is he smacks you, 2 is he kicks you, 3 he does that really weird kick that he floats across the screen and then hits you, moonwalks back, jump up and kicks you again. You gotta watch it. Type in Godzilla kick. It's absolutely hilarious. I couldn't stop laughing when I saw it for the first time. But Godzilla has, of course, his thrashing about. Godzilla, for a giant kaiju or a monster, he is actually quite maneuverable and capable of doing many different things. The guy that actually played Godzilla had some martial arts experience. I believe he was proficient in judo in particular. But that's neither here nor there. We're not taking actors fighting against each other. We're taking the actual characters. Godzilla's primary form of attack is his atomic breath, which is absolutely devastating and has different effects, but most notably is it burns you to death. In addition to that, Godzilla has an incredible healing factor. There's been times when Godzilla has been downright dead. No, I'm serious. He's been dead. Shot, killed, blown up, and various different other things, and he still comes back for more. Because he's Godzilla. So that's basically Godzilla's main attributes. There has been various different other attributes, like burning Godzilla, but we're not counting that. We're counting just plain Godzilla. Godzilla can also breathe underwater, which is a very important thing. Then we have the Dragon Zord. Dragon Zord is a powerful, monstrous Zord commanded by the Green Ranger and later by the Red Ranger. Dragon Zord's main primary forces to attack is one is his claw hands, which he uses quite often to strike his foes. The missiles that are located in the claw hands. He also has a spinning drill blade at the end of his tail, which he does like to throw on around quite a bit. Dragon Zord definitely has more defensive capabilities than Godzilla. However, Dragon Zord also gets damaged a lot quicker than Godzilla. He's a lot slower than what Godzilla actually is, and that could be Dragon Zord's primary weakness. Last thing is, Dragon Zord has to be commanded by the wielder of the Dragon Dagger. There has been times when Dragon Zord has done things on his own, but usually it's due to a result of a command that's given by either Tommy or Jason. So you kind of need to have an operator to use Dragon Zord. But under the assumption that there is an operator, Dragonzord is quite an intellectual fighter who has dealt with various different monsters, similar to Godzilla dealing with various different monsters. So who do I think will come out on top? Well, like I said, Dragonzord definitely has more defensive capabilities. However, Godzilla basically can come back from anything. He has an incredible healing factor. Dragonzord has his missiles and his drill blades for offensive capabilities, but Godzilla's faster and his atomic breath can be used almost at any time and can nullify anything, anywhere, anyhow. If I had to give this to anyone, I would give it to Godzilla. For the two primary reasons that he's faster than Dragonzord, and two is that he can also basically heal himself from anything. Dragonzord, once you rip off his arm has been ripped off. Plain, flat, and simple. And there you go. Godzilla versus Dragonzord? Sorry, Dragonzord. It looks like you lost. So that is the Andrewcutter Battle Royale for the week. Let me just place this back here. If you have suggestions for the Battle Royale, please post down below. 75% of the time I do your suggestions. I didn't do it this time just because I'm in a Godzilla mood and I really want to see the film, but I haven't had a chance to. But by all means, post your suggestions. I will take them into account and I will do them. As for news and updates, bought Mario Kart 8, love it. Bought the Peach remote, love it. Yeah, the Princess Peach remote. I've been playing some Metal Gear Solid 2, and I just beat Fat Man. So the game was pretty good. The game's pretty good so far, and I shamelessly like Raiden for everything he represents. He's kind of a prick and a pretty boy prick, but one that I find endearing and enjoyable. I like the fact that he's not Snake. He's like everything opposite to Snake, and that makes him cool. So I have been playing a lot of Metal Gear Solid 2. I played and beat Luigi's Mansion, Dark Moon, which I highly recommend everyone play. It's really fun. And Mario Golf World Tour, I've been playing a little bit here and there. I've also been picking up Pokemon cards, and my friends and I decided to do a draft. And basically, we buy a box of Pokemon cards and then draft the rares and split up the commons and uncommons. We did Flash Fire this time around, which is the newest set. And out of Flash Fire, there was really just, well, that's annoying. There was really just one card that I wanted. I'm sure most of you guys can figure out what that card is. If you can't figure out that card, then you obviously don't know me well enough. But the card I really wanted more than anything, I got at the very end of the draft, as though it was the last rare that was from the last booster pack that we opened. I was so depressed going into those because we were not finding the card that I wanted, but eventually I was able to find Mega Charizard Y right there. So this is one of my two binders of Pokemon cards. I'm filling them up quite a bit. I have everything from a couple of the sets, base set included. I have every base set card, but Flash Fire, that was pretty cool. I'm decided to make a new deck, and I'm going to try to work around with some fairy cards for a fairy deck. So yeah, got a lot of Pokemon stuff on along the way. Like I said, I had part of my toenail removed, which was I had an ingrown toenail for a while. I got it. This is kind of sad for me to admit this, but I got this back in November. And I've been trying to fix it on my own, but it hasn't been working. Then I took medication, it wouldn't go away. So finally, I went to podiatrist, and they took a bit of my nail off, and it was crazy how much was actually ingrown. So right now, I'm very ginger on my movements. But I am going to go to the gym today, but I'm just not going to do any running or anything like that. Take it easy. Take it easy. But yeah, that's really updates. Anything else? No, no, nothing really. Oh, and I beat Scribble Knots Unmasked, which was a fun game. Pick it up. Let's move on to questions and answers. Mad 202 Skills. Hey Andrew, I wanted to know if you knew why a lot of superheroes overcome great fear and have a lot of will, but they do not recruit. They're not recruited by the Green Lantern Corps. Not what I want them to. Not what that I want them to, but it seems sort of odd that they don't. The main reason why people aren't always brought into the Green Lantern Corps is normally by rule there can only be one Green Lantern from each section. And generally, starting off, on Earth, Hal Jordan was the man with no fear. He had more willpower than anyone else. It's only through an occurrence of miscellaneous events that we get four Green Lanterns. Now, John Stewart became Green Lantern because of a fluke. The Ring thought Hal Jordan was dead. And then Guy Gardner got in because of a fluke, and then Kyle Rayner got in because everyone else was dead, or they needed him to fight Hal Jordan, so on and so forth, insert reason. But the reason being is it's technically only supposed to be one Green Lantern from each section. It's just through random occurrences and flukes, there's four at 2814. So that is your reason. Um, Another reason is because maybe that's not their primary attribute. Like Batman, he can create great fear. That's why he was recruited by the Sinestro Corps before he was recruited by the Green Lantern Corps. So, little fun fact. Nick Lenz, hey Andrew, 5 questions for you. First, why do some people forget that Gigan and Wonder Woman villain and Deadshot is a Giganta? Why did I say Gigan? I was thinking Pokemon. Giganta is a Wonder Woman villain and Deadshot is a Batman villain. Second, what if there was a crossover between Batman and Shadow? Third, did you get a chance to go see Godzilla? No, I didn't. It was a good movie. Fourth, are you going to get the Grayson series when it comes out in July? And fifth, did you know that Wolverine series is ending in August with issue number 12 in a double size? Is that, and what it is a double size issue? First, yeah, why do some people forget Wonder Woman and Deadshot are villains of Giganta and Batman? Probably because Giganta really hasn't been a villain of Wonder Woman since maybe the late 80s, early 90s with the George Perez stuff. Both of them have, Giganta has kind of moved on to being more of a DC Universe villain, and Deadshot's kind of moved on to the Suicide Squad. He's stepped out of the shadow of being a Batman rogue. But you still see Deadshot viewed as a Batman villain in cartoons and video games. I mean, Arkham Origins and the Arkham series uses him, so it's not like they're divorced from being the villains of those respected characters. It's just they have better things to do too. Um, what if there was a crossover versus with Batman and Shadow? I really wouldn't care, to be honest. I know they're very similar in nature with the crime noir kind of thing and the creatures of the night, but I personally wouldn't care. Third, did you get a chance to go see Godzilla? No, I did not. Fourth, are you going to get the Grayson series when it comes out in July? Yes, I am. Fifth, did you know the Wolverine series is ending in August with issue number 12? Yes, 3 months to die. Wolverine's getting killed from the Marvel Universe because I'm sure it's going to last. Because Marvel will really kill one of its main characters permanently. But yeah, we'll see what happens. Hopefully, it brings out some good stories for Wolverine. The freaking Rican 123. John Young Bosch is probably the only Mighty Morphin Power Ranger other than Jason David Frank that's still relevant. And that's because the anime voice acting. He's basically the go-to guy for dubs here in the States now. Pretty good for him considering what happened to the rest of Power Rangers in real life. Define relevance. I would say Johnny Young Bosch is more relevant than Jason David Frank, but it's also depending on what terms. I mean, yeah, and acting, those two still kind of act, but at the same time, you got to look at where other people have gone to. Um, I mean, Catherine Sutherland decided that she just wanted to be a mother and a personal trainer. Amy Jo Johnson actually has had bigger roles than both Johnny Young Bosch and um, Jason David Frank. Well, maybe Jason David Frank. She stars in a TV show. She's done multiple short films, some of which recently has won awards in Canada. Austin St. John decided to become a paramedic, so he doesn't really want to be relevant. He kind of just wants to be his own man. So all of them have done different things. I mean, Karen Ashley has their own radio show. So relevance can only be defined in what terms you want to define them in. In Power Rangers, I wouldn't say any. Jason David Frank is definitely the most recurring character, but I wouldn't say he's the most relevant character either. A lot of people misunderstand my thoughts on. I'm going to take this down. Many people misunderstand my thoughts on Tommy as a character. Um, Tommy's definitely had the most appearances than any other Ranger in the series, but I wouldn't say he's the greatest Ranger of all time. I wouldn't say there's any greatest Ranger of all time. They all contribute their own thing. But at the same time, I feel as though the only reason why Tommy gets as much love as he does is because he's been around so long, and well, he was awesome when he was a Green Ranger. But let's take into facts here. Tommy is probably the least successful Power Ranger leader. Uh-oh. I'm opening a can of worms and people are going to be upset about this, but I'm going to just address this. He's probably the least successful Power Ranger leader. Tommy has gotten one set of Zords destroyed, two sets of powers destroyed, lost the command center, was blown up by the villains, lost to the villains in the series finale. In addition to that, the Zeo Rangers were losing so much to King Mondos, he had to re-recruit the original leader, Jason, back to help him lead. And then I don't even talk about Turbo because he was barely in it. He was in every episode he was supposed to be in, but only for like 5 minutes at most. And I know this because I'm rewatching Turbo now. I mean, Tommy hasn't been the most successful leader. Again, two powers lost, one set of Zords lost to the main villains of the series at the end of the series, need to have Jason to return to help out. Whereas you look in comparison to other leaders, Carter from Lightspeed Rescue fucking shot everything out of the sky, was able to defeat their villains, and never lost their powers. Jason, for the most part, only had won everything that he's done. The only thing he really had lost at was he wasn't able to save Tommy's Green Ranger powers. That's about it. I mean, he's been successful at everything else. And the only person to actually defeat Tommy in battle. You can think about almost any Ranger leader. Andros saved the whole fucking universe. Pretty big deal. And the biggest battle of all, unfortunately, had to kill Zordon to do it. But, I went off the beaten track with that comment. But yeah, Johnny Young Bosch is awesome at voice acting. I think that's what we're all getting at. Again, I love Tommy. I just don't think Tommy should get the credit that everyone's giving him for. Tommy's great secondary character, not really good as a leader. But I know I'm going to get a lot of you people right now that are going to say one or two things. One is A, Andrew, you're wrong, or B, Andrew, you're just a Jason fanboy, and you're just doing that to make Tommy look bad. Yes, I am a Jason fanboy. If you see my Forever Jason section, which I will show you, is a section committed to just Jason, but it has nothing to do with Jason. Moving on. Stephen Morgan, are you going to make another Batman timeline? I've already addressed whether I'm going to make another Batman timeline or not. Check the previous video. Green Arrow Hunter, hey Andrew, do you think that now Dick Grayson is a secret agent, DC is going to make Tim Drake the new Nightwing? No, I don't think so. I think Tim Drake is Red Robin. He's going to stay Red Robin. Moving on, Zach Brown. Hey Andrew, what's your thoughts on Ben Affleck's new Batsuit in the Batmobile? I mean, it's Batman. It's really hard to do the Batsuit wrong. It's recognizably Batman. If it's gray and black, I'll be very happy with it. The Batmobile It's a Batmobile. There's tons of Batmobiles. I don't know if I have a favorite. So they both look good, and I'm happy. Do you think Batman's Zero-Year story arc will be revealed as the year one, as Batman Year One, and replace the definitive origin story as a definitive origin story? Yes, I do think it will replace Year One. Will it be the definitive origin for Batman for the next 20, 30 years until we decide to reboot it again? Um, Zero-Year story arc, I think, was strongest in the beginning. It's still good now, but uh, I think people just need to accept change in order to enjoy it. Evil Mastermind. If the new Justice League formed out of heroes that have been established but have not gotten a major role in comics like Plastic Man, who would be considered for the JLI, and Blue Devil, whom was seen in Fire of Evil, and characters who have yet to appear in the New 52 like Donna Troy and Damage, who would you put on a team and how would you have it form? And where would you have them stationed? I would call it Justice League All Stars. I'm serious. And it would be a team of people that are recruited by the main Justice League team in order to deal with threats that they don't have a chance to deal with. They would be stationed in the Hall of Justice, and the team would consist of Black Canary, the Guardian, Elongated Man, Hawkgirl, New 52, Earth 1, not Earth 2 Hawkgirl. Let's go for 7. We got 4 right there. We got 4 right here. Let's do Booster Gold. Let's do Captain Atom. And last one, let's throw in... Again, I'm doing this off the top of my head. There's probably people that I could throw in there that I haven't thought of yet. Let's do the Atom from Justice League. And these are just characters that are currently not on the Justice League team. If it was up to me, I would have Hawkman, Martian Manhunter, and Green Arrow on there also, but they're on their own team. They're doing fine over there. So that's what I would do. And it would just be them dealing with street level threats and stuff. Well as classic Justice League villains. Dicky Boy 03. Hey Andrew, can you say your reading order list for DC Crisis books like Crisis, Infinite Earths, Infinite Crisis, Final Crisis? Is there any prequels I should read or other Crisis I should read? A lot of these are no longer in continuity. However, if you don't care, you want to have a reading order, read it as such. Crisis on Infinite Earths, first read. Identity Crisis, second read. And I'm trying to skip over some of the stuff you don't need. Infinite Crisis, the OMAC Project, third read. Infinite Crisis, fourth read. 52, fifth read. Final Crisis. Although Final Crisis had so many different kind of tie-ins for different things that it's going to be confusing. But I hope that helps you. Blue Lantern of 2814. I feel like people forget that Elemental Woman is on Justice League. She did make an appearance during Fire of Evil. Do you think she and Firestorm will stay on the team after Fire of Evil? Right now, Elemental Woman and Vibe are missing, so I don't know what they're going to do with Elemental Woman. But I think they'll eventually bring her back to the team. Pawn DS. I haven't watched a video in over a year, but I had to see what you had to say about the Dick Grayson nonsense. Oh, thank you. X Valis. I just watched Forever Red for the first time, and I'm wondering how the hell are all the Red Rangers had all the old powers back? Well, it's cool to see Jason back as Red. There seems to be no explanation given for his powers were destroyed. There's 2 explanations on how Jason could have got his powers back. Explanation number 1, and one of which that I think is better than what people think is the canon explanation, is that Jason never gave his powers to Rocky, but rather it was copied. If you notice, when the Sword of Power was used to transfer the powers to both Rocky and Jason, both of them were still morphed, and both of them still have power morphers and power coins. Now, the explanations for this is because Austin St. John already left the show, thus you couldn't have the original actor there. But if you want to go within the show, I mean, they both had power morphers and had power coins. That means Jason kept the original coin while Rocky had a copy. Um, Thus, when the coins were destroyed, Jason's coin was not attached to the morphing grid because remember, as established in Power Rangers mythos, you cannot have too much of one particular power on the morphing grid at a time. Too much pink energy is disastrous. So Jason's powers were turned off from the morphing grid, unaffected from them being destroyed by Rito Roboto, and in addition to that, he would still have the Power Morpher and Power Coin for when he would go up against the Machine Empire. This begs the question why Jason didn't morph into the Red Ranger during Zeo, but one explanation for this is because his power coin was not attached to a morphing grid. So because it was not attached to the morphing grid, there was no way for him to morph into the Red Ranger during Zeo. It's assumed that at some point down the road, Jason found a way to attach his power to the morphing grid again, and then he was able to morph. I hope you understand that, but that's the theory that I like. The second theory is the writer of Forever Red took themes from the Power Rangers Zeo comic, which is questionably in continuity itself, in which Lord Zed created a team of evil Power Rangers using the powers from the original Dino coins and reconstructing the Dino coins. Jason was able to steal the morpher from the evil Red Ranger and hence became the Red Ranger once again. I never liked that theory, and it's so much more questionable than the first one I gave you. But if you want to go with something that makes sense, Jason never gave up his powers to Rocky, but rather copied it and kept the original powers to himself. So that means at this point there are 4 Mighty Morphin Power Rangers still around. Jason, Trini, and Zach, which kept their original coins that were never damaged, and Adams, who Mastodon coin was revived, and technically they could all still morph because if you saw in not Once a Ranger, the Power Ranger in Space episode that Adam showed up, he still could morph, but rather dangerously. Technically, all the original Mighty Morphins can morph, and technically they could all repair the coin. So it's always a chance for someone to come back as Mighty Morphin Ranger. But that's my theory on how Jason got his powers, is that he never gave them up. They just were simply copied. And that is the questions for this week. I'm going to end this review here. Thank you very much for being patient with me over the past few months with my videos. I really do appreciate you guys kick ass and take names where there are no names left to take. And with that said, I have to go take a shit, then go to the gym, and then get on with my day. Thank you, and have a good day.